Welcome to Rauta's Underground Trio, episode 40. Closer to the year we go, closer to big numbers we go. And once again, 3 different releases from 3 different underground names. Actually 4 ones, because one is a split tape. So we have a couple of deathgrindish things here, CDs, and then a tape which features 2 black metal bands. Now, these are put into my personal worst to best order, so this is my personal opinion. Don't be offended if it's different from yours. I only encourage you to check out some of the bands you might find worth listening to once you've gone through roughly the ideas what these bands have, the style and whatnot. Let's go! Starting with Hungarian band Krampüs. Now, those who are familiar with European tales of Christmas or Yule area already know what Krampus is. It's like the nasty version of Santa Claus punishing those kids. Okay, this is quite stuck here. So punishing those kids who are naughty, whereas Santa Claus is, of course, bringing in the presents. So Krampus is exactly that. Some would call it kind of a Christmas demon. I don't know if it's demon, it's exactly, but close enough anyway. So this one is there to punish those naughty little kids such as you, obviously. And this style is deathgrind. Well, sort of. I mean, it's really trying to pick out the best parts of both worlds and doing an okay job with that. While there is nothing wrong combining 2 different styles and, having a decent production, basic rolly vocals and all that stuff, well, deathgrind is a hard genre to do correctly. My point here is when you're kind of cherry picking different styles, I mean, it's hard to sometimes convince the death metal audience like, hey, this is something worth checking out. Whereas doing exactly the same for grind fanatics could be really the same. Like grind fanatics might go for full-blown grind, and death metallic fans, well, know the deal here. This is, however, doing its best in order to cater to your needs with both styles. And like I said, everything here is pretty okay. But this ain't no Napalm Death. This is no Terrorizer. And this is definitely not one of the best, death metal bands out there, nor the best grind ones. So, I mean, if you're comparing these to bands like Napalm Death or Aborted for that matter, you're gonna be a little bit disappointed. Now, if you expect some kind of a mediocre, average approach to deathgrind with not too many catchy songs or nothing out of ordinary in terms of vocals, songwriting, riffs, whatever you have it, then you're in for a, treat of sorts. So, pretty basic standard deathgrind in so many ways. Not gonna be a big disappointment what to expect, but then again, not really delivering something out of ordinary, like no wow moments there, but easy to listen to, especially with a couple of beers and all, but is it worth getting? Not blindly anyway. And roughly the same style, also coming from Hungary, is this band Parasite Crowd. It's supposed to say there with Trichotomia. Now this is pretty much the same style as the previous one, but now with MCD. And basically pretty much what I just said for the previous album is very much present here as well. That is, this comes with a rather nice and solid production. Can't say bad words about the vocals either. But once again, we are in the very same territory. How are you going to compete with those big ass names who know how to kick ass with, intense riffing, interesting riffs and melodies and what have you, intense crowley vocals and all that stuff? Yes, I get a little bit Barney vibes here and there. So there is certain kind of a nod towards, bands like Napalm Death and all. But I still feel like this pretty much as the previous ones. These are both work in progress kind of a bands. I mean, for example, this band has been there, theoretically speaking, more than 30 years. But when it comes to releasing stuff, I mean, they don't have much more than this out because the band was actually disbanded for many years. And as such, it's more like now they're making their opening moves. Basically, something more than just a demo out now. And clearly those 30 years of existence, so to speak, haven't really served the band in a ways that now they are, honed to the max, all that stuff. Now it's they're taking the first steps and obviously making the typical mistakes many bands do. Once again, if all you need is a fast tempo, some basic deathgrind riffs and all that stuff, good production, then you're all set for that one. but if you expect something more memorable, and this is where you play bands like Aborted, Napalm Death, and what have you up from your sleeves, then you're just like, okay, maybe I need something better. And this brings us to the last, but also the best release on the pile. This is Kruzifix with Z and X, and another band, Crawling, not Craving. This must be coming from a discussion I had earlier about cravings. These two are both one-person project. I'm saying one person because these are not actually one-man projects. Kruzifix, I think, is one-man project, whereas Crawling is from not Portugal, Turkey. Yeah, it was one woman band from Turkey. So you have two sides, 3 songs by Crawling and 5 tracks by Kruzifix. Both are playing black metal in very raw ways, and well, there are differences in terms of quality and style, but you can roughly understand why they are on the same tape. So tape A is the Kruzifix side, and side B is Crawling. And the release, as you can see, Descent into Unpure Souls. Actually, these are both rather promising ones, but having minor flaws here and there. The better part comes with Kruzifix from Portugal, and that is the songwriting is overall better. It's strong sounding, yet somewhat rough and raw, and the vocals are really intense, and there's something like really kind of gets you going on. But once you're done with the 5 tracks a few times, you kind of realize there are not really memorable moments. Is it enough to challenge a lot of those Norwegian and what have you classics from the 90s? Surely, is it enough to beat most of them? Not really, but it's kind of a comparable. I mean, there's lots of potential with these riffs and songs. I mean, there is this intensity, and I think this kind of band would really rock your socks off when live. Now, with Crawling, there's a little bit less impact because there is a drum machine, which is not outright bad, but it's not really strong suit of the whole demo. Those female crazy screams are quite intense, and I like them, and most of the riffs is something that kind of gives me the good idea of like, this really could be it. But a lot of work is to be done when these two bands are ready to move on to an album phase, like maybe a real drummer, maybe somewhat better production, even if the raw sounding is kind of serving the needs here, and all that. Songwriting, I guess, in one way, in addition to the drum machine, is the weak point, because the thing here is, while there are certain strong riffs, the songwriting itself is a little bit lacking punch. I mean, it's not really memorable. It's like, oh yeah, badass and raw. Now you really need to make those riffs work well. But vocals and production to some degree, quite okay. So definitely a decent release, and in case you're looking for some underground stuff, I mean, for example, this is copy 36 out of 66. Very limited. So we could say 4 different bands, 3 different releases, 2 types of material. Deathgrind and raw end of black metal. Now, if you're more into death metal and grind, or especially deathgrind, these 2 are your go-to ones. But if you're into black metal, go with these ones. You will find links provided in the description box, so click and listen to ones you like and then start exploring. I hope this is worth your time. If not, complain to someone who cares. Bye bye.